Welcome, everyone. So glad that you're here, taking time out of your busy schedules to be here together in our group financial coaching sessions. These are a great opportunity to expand beyond the one-on-one coaching, but to get help and inspiration from the larger group. So it's a pleasure to have you here and look forward to our conversation. You're welcome to be on camera or off camera and mute yourself or to come off of mute when it's time for the discussion and participation aside. You can also participate in the chat. I'll be watching the chats, trying to watch that as well as the audio participation. So look forward to having you join in any way, shape, and form. Just as a quick way of introduction, in case we have not met before, I'm Brian Halverson. My story is I've been in the financial industry for a little over 2 decades, 23 years, helping individuals and families to find some financial peace and prosperity, navigate the game of money, which can be highly stressful. And so I'm grateful for the opportunity to help and serve each one of you. I taught Financial Peace University, Dave Ramsey's program for 16 times over 8 years. And now I've become one of the top Ramsey preferred coaches and have built a team of, now I need to change that number, 10 coaches as we continue to grow and help more and more families and individuals. There are a lot of resources that I want to make sure you are aware of that you can take advantage of. Free resources on our website. You can go to our website, bemoneystrong.com. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. All of that is built to help to give you some inspiration and some guidance and success stories, cautionary tales, all of the above, so that you can move forward in and making progress in your goals. There's a quick slide of some of those coaches that are more familiar to you than others as our coaching team has continued to grow. We look forward to the opportunity to serve and help you as well. So this is a new slide from what we've usually gone into. So I want to just kind of explain who we are with our team, the Be Money Strong team. We are looking at the top there. That roof is how do we obtain and help others obtain the financial peace and prosperity? Money is not the end goal or in and of itself. It's what money allows us to do. It gives us the peace. It gives us the prosperity so that we can then be more of what we want to be, whether that's traveling or helping or serving. Or money doesn't create character. Money enlarges and magnifies character. And so, how do we be money strong? How do we make this progress? Is through these three pillars: the awareness, vision, and execution. Awareness, we have to know where we are. Vision is where we have to know where we want to go. Execution is how are we actually going to get there, and are we taking the steps to actually make it there? And all of that rests on the foundation of accountability. And so that's what we provide to our community is that accountability. Are we actually making progress, or are we just talking about it, or are we actually making progress towards those goals? If you just talk about it, it actually leads to frustration and disengagement because you just get mad at yourself when you're not actually taking the steps. So we got to know where we are, know where we want to be, know how to get there, and have an accountability partner that's going to help push us to maximize our progress. And it's not just about information. It's how do I get from information to transformation? Well, improving, as it says there at the bottom, improving your life really requires your head, your heart, and your hands. So I've got to understand it, I got to feel it, and I got to do it. And so you'll notice this in our coaching programs and in this group session. There's some things that I'm going to be addressing your head, some things I'm going to be addressing your heart, and some things I'm going to be addressing your hands. Because if I'm missing any one of those, I'm going to lack progress, and I'm going to not move forward as much as I could. So we want to make sure that we're in alignment. My head, my heart, my hands are all in alignment, and we're maximizing our progress. So that's my goal with every program that we create. So let's start at the beginning, right? This is the Dave Ramsey baby steps. These 7 baby steps. Some of you are more familiar with these than others, but this is the level set that I do at every group session, just to make sure we're all on the same page. We understand. Okay, here's the vision, and you can identify where are you, and where do you want to be. What's the next incremental step? Eventually, we want to get to baby step 7. But what step am I on? What's the next step? And how do I get to that step? How do I move beyond that step is what I want to make sure we're all understanding. So just to level set us all on the same understanding. Baby step one, we want to save $1,000 in our starter. It's a beginner emergency fund. $1,000 doesn't go far enough these days, less and less far every day with crazy expenses and tariffs and inflation. And the world is a crazy place financially, and it's affecting me and my family and my household. But I got to get that $1,000. That's the very first step. Get to baby step one, get your $1,000 just to take the edge off of things, take the stress off, so that if you have an emergency, heaven forbid, you reach for the savings instead of reaching for the credit card. Then we move back to baby step two. We go to paying off all of our debt, everything except the house. So if you have 401k loans, if you have credit cards, payday loans, car loans, family loans, every rental properties, yep, that is a debt, and it's not a part of your primary residence. What about my home equity? That's on my house, so that doesn't count, right? Nope, it does count. It counts as baby step two. We got to make sure all debt is off your back, everything except your primary residence. Then once that's done, we go back to saving. We save 3 to 6 months of expenses for those larger emergencies, which might be an income interruption. Maybe I lose my job. Maybe I have to move. Maybe something happens, a medical emergency. Larger emergencies, that's where we have that 3 to 6 months worth of expenses saved up for. Then we move on to saving for the future, investments, retirement saving. We want to put 15% away for your future retirement. That day is coming, every day a little bit closer. So for me, that's one of the primary things I want to focus on with my clients is because we've got to get there as soon as possible because of the time value of money, right? The compounding interest that I can make over time. If I'm losing time, that's hard to get back. So I have to make up for lost time by doing more than 15% to be able to catch up to where I want to be. Retirement is a number, it's not an age. So for some people, it might be 80. For some people, it might be 50, right? It just kind of depends on when are you going to get to your number. So the faster we can get to baby step four, the faster we can hit our number, and then we can get through hopefully to baby step seven as quickly as possible is will building wealth and giving. What was in between those two though? Baby step five, I got to save for kids' college if that's applicable for you. Baby step six is paying off the house. If you don't own a home and you want to buy one, we actually go back and we put that in usually at baby step 3B so that after we have our emergency fund, we start saving for our down payment. Buying a house is not an emergency. So we're not going to use our emergency fund to buy the house. We just make it a next saving goal. And I need to put my 20% down on my down payment fund, baby step 3B, and then I can get into the baby step four of investing. Then finally, we get to baby step seven of building wealth and giving. As I talked about in one of the previous sessions, group sessions, what about baby step eight? What's after that? Is that once you get there, I have a lot of clients that they spend their entire lives trying to figure out how to get to baby step seven. Then once they get there, they actually start to flounder because they don't know what to do because their identity hasn't quite kicked in along with their achievement goals. We'll follow up on that in a second. What is the identity and achievement goals? That was last month's session, and we're going to do a follow up here in a second. But I'm hopefully becoming something along with doing something. I might have gotten out of baby step two and I paid off my debt. Well, who did I become in the process? I saved my 3 months, 6 months of expenses. Who did I become in the process? I'm investing. Well, who am I becoming in the process? Because once you get to baby step seven and you don't have to save for retirement, you're there already. Well, yeah, you have a fully funded emergency fund. I see this a lot with families that get to that level is now what? Nobody's telling me what to do, and I don't know what to do. So somebody tell me what to do. Somebody give me an action step. And so I get to coach people in baby steps 8 and beyond to help them. So let's pause for a second and check in. So this is the audience participation. You're welcome to put it in the chat or come off of mute. Any questions, comments, thoughts around the baby steps?
Find the 8 and what happens afterward interesting.
You find that interesting, Corinne? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Let's jump into that. Let's figure out how to do that, right? That's all of our goals. It's what does building wealth, what is giving, what does that really look like? What does life after baby step 7 look like? That's hopefully every one of us is going to figure that out someday. And what got you to 7 is different with what you need to be doing in 8. And it's an interesting thing because I'll, I'll say it this way. Often in those baby steps, when you transition from 2 to 3, it's interesting for me that I see clients will flounder in different phases. It's like, wait a minute, you were so engaged and so intense on baby step 2, and this is literally an example. I want to share lots of stories and examples because these are real life people. I changed the names to protect the innocent or guilty, depending on the story. But we can learn a lot from other people because we're not alone. That's what the point of this community is, to realize I'm not alone. Other people are on this path as well. But I was coaching a family, and in baby step 2, they were so intense and they paid off $60,000 worth of debt in 1 year. And then we got to baby step 3. And in the next year, they only saved 20,000. I was like, man, you guys did 60,000 last year, and this year you only could do 20,000. What happened? It's just move on to the baby step. What you did in baby step 2 isn't it the same in baby step 3? No, not necessarily. And they really lost momentum in baby step 3, and we were able to diagnose again the head, the heart. What's wrong with the hands? Why isn't this happening? And we found out their answer was, why aren't you saving more? Saving is boring. That was their answer. Baby step 2, there's somebody coming after me. So I've got to pay off this debt, and I get those statements, and the creditors are going to call me. There's some fear, maybe a stick motivating me to run forward. But with the carrot, saving for the future, I'm just saving for myself, and it's so easy to put myself last. Wow, okay. So my success in baby step 2 does not guarantee my success in baby step 3, or my baby step or success through baby steps 1 through 7 does not guarantee my success in baby step 8. Because now what? And sometimes what our strengths in baby steps 1 through 7 now become a weakness in baby step 8. I've been saving my whole life. I've been keeping my expenses super low, beans and rice budgets to get there. Now I'm here and I don't know how to spend. Ugh. For some clients, I have to teach them how to save. For some, I have to teach them how to spend appropriately, right? We don't want to run out of money before we run out of days, but it's about balance. That's why, again, I'm very interested in helping you to become something along this path and not just check boxes. And when you run out of boxes, you don't know what to do. That's the head, that's the heart, that's the hands. So we want to make sure that we are looking at things holistically. All right. So, any other thoughts, comments, questions? What's the hardest baby step for you? The one you're on?
For
Getting stuck?
me,
Yeah, Nicole.
the hardest one is um okay, so I'm in between 2 and 3,
Okay.
maybe 4. So here's the thing, Brian. I paid off all my credit cards, which was amazing.
Nice job.
But now, and I was Gazelle intensity. But now I still have student loan debt, car note, which are like way larger amounts,
Yeah.
right? I owe like a
Yes.
hundred thousand dollars of student loan. So I feel like my Gazelle intensity has slowed down because it's like I'm never gonna pay this off. So
Yeah.
then
It's a
I
longer
started
road now.
yeah, I started saving my money. I did the 3 months budget. I put that aside. And then I was talking to my coach. And I started doing retirement. I started skipping around to other steps because I just felt like paying off my debt is just gonna take forever. But talking to my coach, I'm kind of reassessing if I should just take 3 and 4 efforts and put it back into 2.
That's very good that you're having those discussions with your coach and those thoughts and wonders, because often this plan worked, right? Dave Ramsey has tested this and shown it with his research over is like the largest single study of millionaires. And how do these millionaires get there? These are the steps. And often we look at that and say, I got a better way. I can do it. I'm going to find my own shortcuts. I'm going to create my own path. And you're not alone, Nicole. A lot of clients I run into say, well, I kind of skipped that one. I'm doing this one. I try to do all 7 of them at the same time. because I'm paying a little bit towards my debt, but I know I need to save and I need to do with my retirement, and my kids are getting closer to college, and maybe I'll put an extra 50 bucks on the house. And so you're trying to do everything at once sometimes. But if we were to be, sometimes multitasking is a myth, and trying to do multiple baby steps at the same time, you really dilute your progress instead of being laser focused, single minded, and say, I'm just going to get rid of that stupid student loan. And what you face is actually very common, Nicole, that you see, like you have these smaller, what happens with the debt snowball? We line up our debt smallest to largest. And why do we do that? It's not because of interest rates. It's not a mathematical strategy. It's a psychological strategy for the exact situation that you are now facing. So we have this small loan. We pay it off. I have another client who has different debts. They have their student debts, and they just line them all up, and they say, okay, here's this $500 one. That's going to be easy. We're going to pay that off in a month or so, or as fast as possible. Then we're going to get to the 2000 one. That'll take a little bit longer. Then this one, and then this one, and then they hit. Eventually, they're going to get the like, man, I got a $50,000 loan next. This is going to take me forever. Why did we line them up from smallest to largest? Was to build the momentum and to prove to yourselves this works. Now it's just a matter of time. And you've developed the discipline to run a budget and to pay for those things. Now what's at risk now? What's being tested now, Nicole, is patience. And those two are critical. You're like, I ain't got none. I don't have any patience. It's too long of a road. It's like Mount Everest. It just feels like it's going to take forever. So we have to build in some stamina, some boosts, right, along the way that will create the momentum. If momentum is only from checking the box that I closed alone, I got to wait a long time before my next check mark. So we are going to build in some arbitrary milestones, which means I got a $20,000. My next loan is $20,000. I'm not going to get a check mark endorphin hit for a long time. Okay, so Lorianne made a video of this in our YouTube channel. You can go find it. But we talk about they would make paper chains, and they would have a paper chain for every $1,000. There's a chain of 20,000 chain, or sorry, 20 chains, 1,000 each. That'd be a really long chain. Don't do that. Do a chain link of $1 or $1,000. I can't say this. Can't think and speak at the same time. So every chain link is $1,000. It's 20 links long. Represents my $20,000 loan. And every time I hit $1,000, I rip one of those off. Another way of creating some arbitrary motivation is you can draw a thermometer on the wall, and it's got 20 lines, and every line I get a color in is $1,000, and I'm making progress towards my goal. And that helps me to create the stamina, the motivation, so that I know where am I going? Because if you lose sight of your destination, it's really easy to just take your foot off the gas and wander. You said it. I was a gazelle intense getting my credit cards off, but I'm not feeling so intense. So I moved on and I went to baby step 3. I did a little 4, doing a little 5. Like I'm all over the place because I don't feel the engagement with that next debt. It's too big. So for you, Nicole, does any of this ring true for you? And what can you take out of it to say, okay, how do I build some more stamina and motivation so I don't lose engagement with the step that I'm on?
Yes, it reigns very true for me. Yeah. So
Always easier said than done, right?
I'm
So
stopping
how do we
my
do this?
I'm stopping investing my retirement and I'm taking my 3 month savings and I'm putting it towards my debt.
Awesome. That's a big step. How will that leapfrog you forward and take a big chunk out of it?
Oh yeah, and I don't know why I never thought of it before, but I'm glad I'm doing it now.
It's so much, it's not math. Math is not your enemy, right? It's not the head that gets in our way, it's the heart, right? I understand it, but it's not coming out the head, the heart, and the hands, right? My head understands it, so why isn't my hands doing it? Because to get it out of my hands, it's got to go through my heart. And my heart says, I'm disengaged. I can't do it. I don't have the stamina. I another family, they had $110,000 worth of debt, baby step 2, but they had $80,000 in baby step 3. I'm like, why the heck are we holding on to that? Pay it off. You could pay off to both cars right now. No, I don't want to because I worry about not having the money, right? Our heart is what gets in the way. Their fear of not having the money. So they were hoarding and holding on to that 80,000 instead of putting it on their debt because that made them feel safe. So it's that's why coaching is so important, is that one-on-one helping you to navigate that path so that we don't lose progress because our heart got in the way of our head or our hands, and I got out of alignment, and now all of a sudden I'm all over the place. So thank you for being open to the sharing that, Nicole. It's very common what you're facing, what you're going through. So I'm proud of you for saying, all right, fine. I'm going to stop baby step 4. I'm going to stop investing. I'm going to take my excess savings and I'm going to take a whack at the debt pinata and I'm going to just chop it down a little bit and re-engage with that motivation and watch it starting to get closer and closer. Proud of you. Any other thoughts, comments, uh, anything on the baby steps before we keep moving? Okay. So I always like doing a follow-up. Again, I mentioned it before, our last month's topic. If you were here, or you can watch the recording on our YouTube channel, subscribe to that and turn on the notifications so you can get notified when we put new content on. I'm having all of my coaches add additional content, so you won't get tired of just hearing from me. So you can watch the videos and the thoughts and the comments and the stories from our other coaches. Last month's topic, again, it's posted on our YouTube channel, is identity goals versus achievement goals. The baby steps are all achievement goals. Check them off, check them off, check them off. I have my 3 months. I have my 6 months. I have my investment. I'm doing 15%. Those are check marks. But hopefully along the way, you are becoming something. You are learning how to become a good financial steward because that's what the baby steps teach us to do. And if you become that when you get to baby step 8, you'll know what to do. But if you have not become that along the way and all you are done is check marks when you get to baby step 8, what do I do now? There's not a check mark. So who am I? My comfort zone is getting out of debt. So guess what I'll do? I'll go get back into debt. When I was a brand new coach, my coach told the story of one of his clients that had gotten out of debt. Baby step 2 was done. And they took a break a little for a while. They said they could do it on their own. So they stopped meeting regularly and they met 3 months later. And my coach checked in and said, how are you doing? Give me an update. Oh, things are great. We bought a boat. Like, what? You didn't have the money for the boat. Yeah, we got a loan for it. Like, oh, you went back to your comfort zone. Like the what do they say, the pig to the mud, whatever that
Slobber.
shit.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, yeah, back to the wallowing in the muck. That was their comfort zone. I know what to do. Pay off a debt. So I need a loan. So I know what to do. Oh, right. Why do people that get out of prison reoffend so they can go back into prison? Because that's their comfort zone. Get out of prison and don't ever go back. Learn from it. Become something along the way. So if you were here last month in that, tell us what you tried out. What did you apply? What you learned? How did you apply that? What did you do as a result of attending last month or watching the recording of the group financial coaching? If you were not here, I want to hear what your successes and your wins have been over the past month because you have them. We just have to capture them, stop and smell the roses, and tell us what's going well in your journey along the baby steps. What are your successes and wins, or what did you learn from last month's session? You're welcome to put it in the chat or come off of mute, share with the group. I know you all have wins. You're making progress. You showed up tonight. That's a win. Celebration is one of the most important aspects of behavior change and progress, and it's part of the psychology of success. Is if you can stop and celebrate more, you'll do more because you are celebrating. So back to Nicole, every $1,000 paper chain that you get to pull off of your debt paper chain, you celebrate the heck of that, heck out of that. You do the happy dance. You get to celebrate it, and it will reinforce that to your brain to say, "Wow, let's keep doing that. That felt good." So, what successes and wins have you had? Anybody, not just Nicole. Or does it feel like, it's just been kind of a normal month? For some people, it's easy to capture those wins because it's a learned behavior. So if it's hard for you to find the wins, my coaching to you tonight is that you find reasons to celebrate. Normal, there's always something to celebrate. I showed up tonight, right? Do the happy dance after this. You started. You're progressing. You haven't given up. That's been a lot of my messages lately with clients is you have a crazy month and it kind of throws you sideways. And sometimes we can just kind of throw up our hands and say, well, next month I'll do it next month, right? This month, don't look at the budget, Brian. Let's look at next month. Let's just focus on next month. But you actually continuing and not giving up, pushing yourself, that is a big win. So some of the comments, yeah, Nicole says it's been a normal month. All right, I challenge you, Nicole, find the wins in a normal month because you have it. And sometimes success just like, whatever, it's just normal. So I bet there's things that we can celebrate. Robin says we got an appointment with the boss for a raise. Awesome. Good luck with that. And counsel together with your coach, and there's some best practices of how to negotiate that. Corinne says I have trouble seeing the positive. Right, most people do. That's why part of my coaching is helping you to learn, not just learn how to budget, but learn how to celebrate, learn how to catch the positive. Our survival instinct is to find what's wrong, what's going on, what's wrong, because that keeps me alive and keeps me safe and comfortable. So my brain is programmed to keep myself safe and preserve calories. And things that are bad ruin my comfort and make me expend more calories. So I'm always looking for the bad. So I have to teach my brain, hey, there's not a saber-tooth tiger around here. I don't have to run for my life. I can learn how to stop and smell the roses and count the blessings. Robin says Wendy is coaching to help to reduce expenses. That's a win. All right, Amber, you got your hand up. Please come off of mute and jump in.
Yeah, we've had major upheaval with moving back to the United States after 9 years in Mexico. But we have been able to continue budgeting and sticking within what we are still earning.
It's awesome. Right? You didn't let a life event, a circumstance, which is a heck of a circumstance to move internationally, but you're sticking with it. You're budgeting. Nothing's gonna knock me off. Right? You can't throw up your hands and just say, it was a tough month. Well, we'll just start next month, right? That happens every month. After a while, you say, okay, how many times are we going to say this month is not normal? Well, maybe crazy is my new normal. There's always something coming to mess me up with my budgeting and my plan. So good job, Amber and Rudy. You guys, welcome back to the U.S.
I can go.
Yeah, Aaron, please.
Apologies, I'm driving. That's why I'm not on video.
Right.
I guess a win for me would be that I'm here. I'm here. I found Brian. Had a tough week last week with my daughter in the hospital, and just like the last speaker, my family and I just moved from the UK to the US in the last 16 months, and it's been extremely challenging. But somewhere I had an epiphany whilst in the hospital that look, and because I've worked as a coach and all that, look, every coach needs a coach, and I went searching. Even though typically my mind would say you can't afford a coach right now, but I still follow the principle of every coach needs a coach. So I went searching and I found Brian. So based on what you said earlier, I'll count that as a win.
Absolutely. Thank you. A win for both of us because now we get to have more ongoing conversations. I count that as a win as well. Yeah, it's there's always an excuse not to do what we need to do. Right? Now's not the right time. I don't have the money. I can't make it a priority. You showed up and you're investing in yourself. So I'm proud of you. Thank you, Aaron, for sharing that. All right, so let's talk about tonight's topic. It was kind of a weird title that I sent you. Time sucks and money vampires. That sounds like a interesting topic we're going to talk about tonight. So what the heck is that? Well, before we jump into that, let's set a goal, right? Where are we heading and what is the reason for you to be here tonight? My goal, my intention with our time tonight is to educate and empower you to identify some wasteful habits, take control of your money, and achieve financial freedom. That's why we're here, right? Remember, the roof of the building is I want that financial peace and prosperity. I want to achieve the financial freedom. Discipline actually brings freedom. So, how do we identify those wasteful habits? We all have them, myself included. You'll all say, this one's mine, this one's my wife's. I know clients that each one of them are on here. Again, I anonymize it to protect the identities of my other clients, but it's always helpful to learn from each other. So let's talk about those three pillars. The awareness. Well, what the heck is a time suck or a money vampire anyway? Anybody want to try to jump in and define those?
Video games or phone games.
Okay, that could be both, right? A video game could be a time suck. I've spent 4 hours just trying to beat the stupid level. Or man, I just had to buy some more lives. And so that can ruin my time and my money. Okay, good, Corinne. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so this is something that might drain your time or your money if you're not careful. Right? Moderation is a good thing. And maybe some distractions, we'll talk about this. Games are not bad in and of themselves, but they can become dangerous quickly. All right, next pillar, vision. Why would managing this be important to you? Think about that. Why are you here? Why is this topic important for you? Make it personal. So look in the mirror and say, why would identifying my time sucks and my money vampires, why is that important for you here tonight? Throw it in the chat or come off of mute. Why is it important? And I didn't forget to mention, Kim had mentioned her win was the staying motivated to be a good manager of my finances. Excellent. That's a good win. All right. Robin says, why is this important to have more time for myself and my family? Excellent. Why there? Well, you can't get time back once it's spent, Amber and Rudy say. Yes. Yeah. So that is, it's really important because if we don't watch what we do with our time, time is money. And if I waste time, I'm wasting money. And if I'm wasting money, then that's going to hurt me moving forward in my baby steps. I might have some money leaks along the way in my budgets, and we're going to talk about that. So our execution phase, so that pillar is asking yourself, I want this to be very specific and personal for you. If you're just here and we don't do anything from it, hopefully we had a nice hour spent together, but hopefully it is an investment that pays dividends for the rest of your life. So I want you to be thinking and asking yourself in the participation along the way, what are your time wasting activities? What could drain your money each month if you're not careful? So those are the questions. I want this to be very reflective thinking. So that's where we then take action and we can change our lives. And this, hopefully you should be able to look back and say, that session made me $100. How did that group coaching session make you $100? Well, I spent my time differently and I spent my money differently. Maybe we can find $500. We'll find a story about that in a minute. All right, so let's talk about Chuck or Christy. Are you like Chuck or are you like Christy? Well, these are two real clients. Change the names for those individuals. Both are working through the baby steps with the help of a financial coach. Both, Chuck and Christy, both want to improve their finances, increasing their saving, getting out of debt, and becoming a good steward with their money. Both are facing challenges in their daily lives, which is causing stress that affects their spending habits, right? They're human, like everybody else. They're facing stress. And how they respond to that stress is unique, right? Everybody is. We all have our own flavor of what do I do when I'm under pressure? Neither was right or wrong, neither approach, neither way of their responding to stress was right or wrong, but each had the same effect on their time and their money. So we're going to look and we're going to come back to them and then we're going to hear their stories a little bit more as we go through our session tonight. And you hopefully can identify, oh, yeah, that sounds like me. I kind of identify with Chuck or I identify with Christy. I do that stuff too. So let's talk about Chuck for a minute. And Christy, maybe this is looks familiar to some of you. The drink aisle at the convenience store, or hey, the app, my phone has a game like that. or something like that. Look, hey, I got all these ways of paying. I can pay with PayPal. I can pay with a mobile payment. I can pay with a Visa, MasterCard, Discover, anything, American Express. Only $5 for 650 whatever widgets more. Okay. Or hey, woo, that looks like a fun place to spend my time. Look at all that. Those goodies that I can go and I can take advantage of. This was an interesting slide when you talk about gaming, right? Corinne had mentioned that. This is an old slide, but 2019 top games by revenue. Fortnite in 2019 made $1.8 billion. That blew my mind. Pokemon Go, right? $900 million, right? For buying those in-app purchases. They're going to kill you, right? They want your money, and we're happy to, as a society, we're happy to give it to them. I didn't add up all these numbers. I should have. That's a lot of money that was in clients' pockets that is now in the business's pocket. And I hope it was fun playing the game, but maybe that's why I'm not hitting baby step 2. And how much time did I spend doing it? So we got to be careful, right? Here's evidence, a financial evidence of time sucks and money vampires. I'm not saying any of these, nothing against any of these businesses. They're in business for a reason. They provide an entertainment, but be careful. You got to be on your defense so that they don't take all of your money. All right, here's a question. What's baby step 0? Woo, we didn't cover that in that first slide. What's baby step 0? That wasn't on the slide. I know it. I just gave you off the menu content. I have a baby step 0 and I have a baby step 8. I sometimes will give you baby step 1Bs and 3Bs. Depends on the client. That's what personalized coaching is all about, is to get you on the path that you need. But what is baby step 0? Well, it's budgeting. That's how I get my first $1,000. That's how I get my out of debt. That's how I get my 3 to 6 months of expenses. That's where I come up with the money to pay for the 15% towards retirement. Every baby step you have to have a budget. So budgeting is how you will take control of your life and start building a different future. And I've got clients that use all kinds of different forms of budgeting. Some use a paper and a spiral bound notebook, and they're writing everything down, and they got the calendar and when is due. Okay, that works for them. I have some that are using Excel. I've created Excel tracking sheets, the current financial snapshots for clients to be able, if you're an Excel person, you want to track it that way, I got it for you. If you want to use the Every Dollar app that Dave has on Dave's website, you can use that. There's apps, there's electronics, there's Monarch is another app, right? People just find what works for you and let's use it. But you got a budget. So can you only budget your money? Interesting. Well, no. Maybe I can budget my time. I had a client that didn't really want help in the budgeting money. He wanted help, and every session was all about managing his time. And he was super frugal. I mean, this guy lived on literally it was like $800 a month. He worked for an Airbnb and he lived in the houses when people weren't there. So he lived on a cot with a sleeping bag. I'm like, this guy's a little too frugal, right? Talk about quality of life. But he's like, I only spent $800 this whole month. Like, wow, okay, that's crazy. So he wanted my help from time budgeting. And it's interesting when you look at time as a resource, just like money as a resource. And he had an epiphany one day, said, I am so in debt, but not to money, it's to time. I can't control a budget. I have no control over my time. I don't know how to budget. Yeah, your time or your money. Right? There's lots of different ways to do it. Some people do the 50, 30, 20 budget, right? 50% towards my needs, 30% to my wants, 20% to my savings. There's a very simplified version of a budget, right? The other versions there's that 50, 30, 20. The zero-based budget, right? That's what we preach with the Ramsey program is I want every dollar to have a name. There's envelopes like grandma used to have. Or, hey, I just don't have any budget. I'm just going to just spend less than you earn. Right? There's a very simplified, just create some margins. Stop living paycheck to paycheck. I would suggest that there's more to it than that because you have to know how to maximize my margin and put my money towards my goals. But start with something. Right? Something is better than nothing. All right. So let's talk about the money and the time leaks that just leaks through our hands. What drains my time? Well, for me, I said this in the email inviting you here, right? For me, it's YouTube shorts. They're just so dang addictive and just interesting and things that you can just kind of get lost. Maybe it's binging the favorite new series in Netflix. Maybe it's your social media. Maybe I waste time on anxiety and the fear, dwelling on the past or worrying about the future, even though I can't change either of them, but I'll spend a lot of time doing it. Maybe I spend a lot of my time commuting. Maybe it's in procrastinating. Maybe it's a lack of prioritization, and all I'm doing is running around putting out fires. And that really drains my time. Maybe I'm constantly checking my phone. Every did it buzz? Wait, I got to check. Was that right? And we're always checking the phone, checking the phone, looking at my phone. Maybe I'm multitasking. I'm trying to do too many things at once. Maybe I spend a lot of time just in distractions, or I have a lack of planning. Maybe I spend a lot of time overthinking and second guessing, right? That we call that the analysis paralysis. In psychology and business, we talk about the paradox of choice. When I was a kid and there was 3 flavors of ice cream, you made a decision and you moved on. Now I go to 31 flavors and I spend 40 minutes in there trying to figure out what the heck I want. Too many choices. Okay, maybe clutter. I got too much junk around me. I got all this taking up my time trying to find stuff. Maybe I'm wasting time in indecisiveness. All right, let me stop there. So hopefully you can identify, again, this is about you. So can you identify which one of those is your time leak? Can you identify one or maybe more? You might have a couple of those. Yep, that one's me and that one's mine. You can take a screenshot of that or take a picture of your phone, watch the recording and pause it and say, okay, yep, that one is mine. I'm stuck in that one. Let's talk about money leak, right? This is just as important as our time leaks. All right, Diet Coke and eggs. Always like to joke about the price of eggs these days. And man, it's expensive when you go to the grocery store. And we got to have our Diet Coke. That one's my wife's. She needs a budget just for Diet Coke, and that's okay. That's where she wants the money to go to. So that's the mental wellness fund. We all need one. What about clothing? I've got clients that have struggled with their clothing budgets, their entertainment budgets, the travel budgets, their subscriptions. I've had clients that we actually do the analysis on their spending, and they realize, here's a win. I canceled a car wash membership for a car that I sold 3 months ago. We celebrated that win, right? You could punch yourself in the head like, oh my gosh, I can't, but don't, right? No blame, no shame, no judgment. We're celebrating the win. You caught it and you stopped the bleeding and you stopped the subscription that was not needed. What about eating out? That could be a money leak. What about the CSP and the ESP? These are literally items I've seen on budgets. Like the budget line item for CSP, and I had to ask the client, like, what the heck is CSP? The convenience store purchases. It's like, oh, okay. All right. I see that a lot now in your transactions. ESP actually came from Dave Ramsey when he was a coach at the very beginning of his career. He was helping somebody, and he was helping him literally budget his checkbook, balance his checkbook. And he says everything looks good, but every once in a while I see this entry called ESP, and I don't know what it is. And there's an amount of it, and everything balances. What the heck is this ESP? It's an error someplace. And he was just correcting it like, oh, crap, I'm $50 off. I'm just going to track ESP, $50. And that's how he balanced his checkbook. Okay, well, that's draining your money. Bank fees, late fees, and interest charges, right? There's a mathematical drain on your life is get an account that doesn't cost you money. It drives me crazy when I see on clients' budgets that they're spending all this money on bank fees. Like, how the heck do we waive that? Do we not meet the minimum balance or go to these big mega banks? Often it's really hard to get a free account, right? You have to jump through all these hoops. Either jump through the hoops or go to somewhere else because I'm tired of paying bank fees, late fees, lack of planning, lack of organization, interest charges. That's why we want to get out of debt. Get baby step 2 off your back. Cars, right? There's a money leak. The miles per gallon, the fuel cost. I got a lead foot. I was reading our statistics on it. Is like if you drive faster than 55 miles an hour, your miles per gallon goes down 23%. Like, whoa, okay. So the faster I drive, I'm in a hurry, but it's costing me in my miles per gallon. right? Poor maintenance. I'm not upkeeping my car. I need to do a tune-up, and that helps me. So I'm not spending so much on fuel costs, right? Under or overinflated tires will wear your tires out faster. So you got to watch those things. Those cars will drain you. Also, where you buy your stuff. Amazon is not always the cheapest. So we got to be a savvy shopper. Also, insurance that you don't need. I might be spending insurance on or money on insurance that I don't need, like cancer insurance, right? Just get health insurance, rental car insurance, right? If does your depending on how you which card you use or how you rent it, you might be included. Visa, often you got to check that and check your the card. If I use my Visa, will it cover any rental car insurance or travel insurance? Often can be covered by the debit card that you use because Visa's that's just a perk that they give you on some cards. You got to check with your bank or credit union. Do I really need comprehensive on my older vehicles, or just get the um, liability? What about energy vampires? Right? What about the things that are always on, like my computer or my TV or my charger? Even though my phone is not connected, that charger is still draining energy. The power plug for my computer, even if it's not on, the power plug is pulling energy out. Right? Thermostats, right? Is it running when I'm not home? And I'm trying to keep the house cool when I'm not even at home. What about food and water wastes? Right? You got a leaky faucet, that's going to show up in your water bill. Food, we throw out food. That goes along with the eating out. I had a client that was spending $1,600 a month in eating out. And they would bring home the leftovers and they would, oh, yeah, we're going to eat the leftovers tomorrow. But then tomorrow comes and nobody wants to eat cold leftovers. So let's go out again. And their food waste was huge. But they pulled it from 400 down of a week down to 160 a week. I share these stories to inspire you, hopefully, to see, other people have done this. You can too. High expense ratios in your investments. That's where some of your money is getting drained. When baby step 4, watch out where those expense ratios are because you could be draining the interest that you're earning is getting eaten by expense ratios because you got an expensive investment option. Not using available coupons. Right? I just had to get my car in emissions. So before I show up, I okay, Google, are there any coupons? $6 off, done. Might as well. Save me $6. Extended warranties, right? The statistics, the extended warranties. Now my phone is listening and it thinks I'm asking about my extended warranties. The phone is always listening. Extended warranties are statistically shown that they are not needed. And most of the time, the fine print says what usually wears out is not covered anyway. So am I wasting money? Am I draining my money in extended warranties? Or unclaimed tax deductions? I might have missed out on something. Am I writing everything off? My charitable contributions? Do I need to itemize or do I need to take the standard deduction? What should I be doing? So making sure that you are taking advantage of every tax deduction that you're eligible for. All right, we're going to kind of crank through. There's so much to talk about tonight. I always overload it. So I'm going to try to get through a lot of stuff. All right, I want you to think about this for you on what are your biggest challenges when it comes to money leaks and time leaks, right? The time sucks and money vampires. Where we paused before and you hopefully identified where your time was leaking out. Hopefully you found one as well with the money leaks. And if you want me to pause, you can pause the recording here and take a picture of that or identify which one is yours. Amber, you got your hand up?
Yeah, quick question, Brian.
Yes.
After everyone can take a picture of this, can you go back to the slide with the time things? I didn't get the picture in time.
That one?
Yes, give me 1 second, please.
You bet. Love the participation. Happy to pause.
Got it. Thank you.
You bet. And then do it again with that one on the money ones. Everybody got that? Or pause the recording and and get that and identify that. This becomes your homework assignment, your checklist, the honeydew list for the next month is go through these things. We need to have a subscription on it. And we're going to go through this. I've done this with clients. Like I got all these, I got HBO and ESPN and Netflix and Disney Plus and Car Wash, and maybe I cut some of that stuff so that I can plow that money towards my goals and make more progress. So here's some of the challenges that you might be facing that we have to address. Again, awareness is key because if you don't know where you are, you won't know how to get to wherever you're trying to go. So where am I? And what do I need to do? Where is my challenge? And it all comes down to a lack in some area. So look at all these different areas. And there's a question for you to think about. Lack of budgeting. Are you not budgeting like you should be? And does this question or this statement sound familiar? I hate budget. This is literally what clients have told me. I hate budgeting. It's my money. I can do with it what I want with it. I'm an adult, right? Okay, maybe that's some of us have said that or thought that at least. Maybe it's a lack of awareness. Have you ever said, "Where is my money going anyway?" That yeah, I don't know where it's going. Maybe it's a lack of patience. We've talked about that before. I need it now. Well, I convince myself that it's a need, and I convince myself that I can't wait for it. So maybe I'm struggling with a lack of patience. Maybe it's a lack of discipline. We mentioned that one earlier too. Like, oh, I'll do it later. Right? I'll figure it out. I got time. We can do it later. Maybe it's a lack of knowledge. How do you do that again? Let's listen to this recording. What? What was that again? What was baby step 7 again? 4? What was it? Where am I? Right? Lack of knowledge. Well, in today's world, that's the easiest one because we're drowning in knowledge, right? Information age, as my phone just demonstrated, it's always listening and trying to help me. So you got to watch, go get the knowledge. What do you need? All right, lack of goals. Maybe that's one area that I struggle with. So where are we going again? Right? What are we doing here? Why am I saving? Why am I budgeting? Like, what's the destination? If you disconnect with the destination, you will lose momentum. So you got to keep remembering what's my 30-day goal. And if you don't have a 30-day goal, that's your stamina is at risk. Okay, lack of tracking. Well, am I late or am I lost? Because I don't know where I am. I'm not tracking it, right? And that's like I might know how to budget, but am I actually doing it? Am I giving every transaction a name? Am I giving it all a category? Am I looking at those categories? I've got to track it. Track my time, track my money. And my phone will tell me, oh, you spent 42 more extra minutes this week on your phone than you did last week. Or you're doing better. You're only at 23 minutes less than last time, right? Am I getting better? That's the whole point. That's what progress is. We're not looking for perfection. We're looking for progress. And hopefully I'm better today than I was yesterday. So, which of these do you struggle with most personally? You're welcome to come off of mute or put it in the chat. Be vulnerable. We all have one. You want to share yours. Where do you struggle the most?
Me, it's the right side, except for goals. That I can do all day long. But discipline, knowledge, tracking, oh yeah, there we are.
Awesome. All right, good. Okay, I struggle with this whole right side. All right, then there's our to-do list. We got to work on those things. Knowledge is key. Awareness. This is where I am now. Vision. What am I going to work on this month? And then execution. Let's do it. And then get some accountability so we actually get it done. So thank you for sharing that, Corinne. Other thoughts, comments? Where do you struggle? Okay, Robin says the time suck is commuting and multitasking. Okay. Yep. So maybe that's some awareness. We just gained some awareness tonight. The commuting is a waste of my time. How do I kind of stuck doing it because I got to get to work. How do I make it more effective? Maybe there's a goal. Maybe there's some things I can learn. Sometimes the car can be the greatest university ever. For me, I'm always listening to a book or a podcast or something so that I can feed my brain while I'm sitting here in traffic. Right? Other areas that where's your biggest challenge?
I think this month for sure, mine is maybe lack of knowledge or lack of budgeting because I started a new job, which is great, and I'm making more money, but I went from irregular income, working a job where you don't have a set pay and the money is always coming, you could just, oh, I want to make more. I want to make more. To, okay, this is all I'm making and I gotta figure out how to make it last for the month.
Yeah.
So
That
I
that
am completely confused on how to budget at this point.
yeah, on an irregular income. I think 2 months ago. Go back and find March's group coaching, Nicole. We talked specifically about irregular incomes and what do you do and how the heck do I budget when I'm on a roller coaster? Right?
Yeah, well, now I have a steady paycheck, and so it's a set amount.
Oh, you're on that now? Okay, you were on the
Hmm.
okay, I have that backwards. Sorry, I misunderstood. So right now you're on the steady budgeting. Okay, good.
Yes.
All right, then we gotta do it. Just every month, right? Lack of budgeting, we gotta do it and track it. Good. All right. So let's talk about how to plug it, right? The execution side. Where do you, or what do you do when you get stressed? Okay, let's talk about the heart for a second. We've been talking about the head. Let's talk about the heart for a second. What do you do when you get stressed? Maybe some unhealthy responses could be, I run to Target, I go to Amazon. Where's that one click? Right? They know you're coming. Why do they think they invented the one click? There's no slowing down to think about this and regret it and change your mind. It's just click it and it's at your door tomorrow morning. Maybe I pull out my phone. Maybe I look for a distraction. Maybe I open the fridge. Maybe I take it out on somebody else. Well, let me tell you another cautionary tale about Mark and Jennifer, the birthday battle of 24, we call it. So they both struggled with money, right? And money is the number one source of marital stress and divorce. Leads to divorce, the number one reason. So her birthday was coming up, and she liked to spend money, and she did it, and she did it well. She spent money like, yeah, yeah. Anyway, and he resented that, right? There was some stress in the relationship. So he kind of said, well, she's already gotten a bunch of stuff, so I don't need to get her a birthday present because she kind of already bought all the stuff that she needed. So I'm not going to buy her a birthday present because I'm a little upset. She broke the budget. It was her fault. He didn't buy her a birthday present. Well, she didn't really like that. And so what did she do to teach him a lesson? She went out and bought a $4,000 purse. That taught him, that showed him, like, holy smokes, we use money as a battle. We take out our stress on each other, right? We punch each other with dollar bills. And how does it shows up in your budget? So we got to be careful with that, right? That's an unhealthy response to stress. Maybe you can identify, am I a stress spender? Maybe it's in my time or maybe it's in my money. When I'm stressed, everything goes out the door. That goes back to my budgeting. Well, don't look at my budget. It was a tough month. We've got to learn how to budget independent of what's tough or not. This is my life, and I can't let those excuses keep throwing me off my plan. So again, awareness, what's causing your stress? Are you feeling blasted? That's an acronym. What does it stand for? Here's another picture moment. It's bored, it's lonely, it's angry or anxious, it's stressed, it's tired, it's excited or emotional, right? Even excitement. Sometimes our body just doesn't know how to handle the excitement or the positive emotions. And so I'll buy something. Why'd you buy something? Because it was a really good day. And I celebrated. Oh, so Amazon is not just I feel bad and I use retail therapy to soothe my troubled soul. Sometimes it's celebration and I didn't have money for either one. Or maybe the D is now I'm depressed or I'm just feeling down. So that's an acronym that you can remember. Are you feeling blasted? And you might be feeling one of those. And with that family that was really struggling with their finances, we slowed them down and I said, I want you to pay attention what you felt that led you to go to Amazon. Well, I was really stressed at work and I went to shopping and I was really angry at my husband, so I went to Target. Like, okay, first is awareness. I got to know those feelings, those emotions are going to lead to a behavior that you may not like on your budget or your time. So what are your coping skills? Maybe I need some water versus maybe I need some morphine. Right? When you're going through something like my son, like I got a headache. Like, well, yeah, drink some water. Let's start with that. Well, no, I got a headache. Oh, let's get some morphine. Like, whoa, whoa, whoa. There's a big gap between those. So do you escalate quickly? Do you catastrophize? Right? Something happened. I'm stressed at work. Less stress. It's just a tough time right now. And I'm jumping to the catastrophizing it. It shows up on my time and it shows up on my budget. So I want you to think about what your escalation path is. There's something in between water, that's medicinal. So is morphine. But there's a lot of steps in between those two. So maybe I can start small and then I can slowly escalate. So these you put in your own order. But maybe as I feel something, I'm feeling blasted, I need to name it because feelings that can be named can be tamed. And studies have shown that people under stress, just by calling out what they feel, their stress levels go down. There's studies that show two groups and they're both feeling stressed. They just suck it up and feel it. And these guys give it a name and their stress went down just from the fact of naming it. So give it a name. Like I feel, and you have to think creatively. It's not just I feel bad. Well, give it a better name. It's I feel overwhelmed. Okay. I feel belittled. Ooh. I feel betrayed. Ooh, those are big words, right? I feel excited. Right? Those are good things too. I feel hopeful. Those are good feelings, right? Give it a name, a specific name. Maybe I just need to breathe, right? As I'm feeling blasted, I can breathe through this, right? Navy SEALs have proved this, that when you're in highly stressful situations that Navy SEALs find themselves in often, they'll do these different exercises called box breathing. I wish we had more time to practice it, but what is a box breathing? You inhale for 4 seconds. You hold it for 4 seconds. You exhale for 4 seconds. And then you hold it, no breath, for 4 seconds. And then you inhale again. So it's a box. Inhale 4, hold it for 4, exhale for 4, hold it for 4. And you do that repetitively and it calms your heart rate down. Another version I've heard is the 2 inhales and 1 long exhale. So the inhale, you can try this again, is you take 1 deep breath until your lungs are full. And now that they're full, you take another little bit. There's a little bit extra that you had more room. You filled it up, but then you top it off, right? And you inhale a little bit extra, and then you slowly exhale. Take like 8 seconds to exhale. Man, you got to really manage your breath. What you're doing is you're oxygenating your brain and you're slowing your heart rate down. Because I'm stressed out and I'm about to click the one click on Amazon, and it's going to show up on my door and it's going to ruin my time and it's going to ruin my budget. So breathe. Maybe I need to do some exercise. Maybe I need a positive distraction. Maybe I go do a puzzle. My daughter loves crochet. And so she does that. Maybe I could do crafts. Maybe I'm going to go do some gardening. Tetris. What is this? In the 80s? Yes. Right? Playing Tetris has been proven with combat veterans that suffer from PTSD that when they're over processing on a certain stressful event, they had them play Tetris, and something about the spatial and the organization and just lining stuff up and putting them where they need to go, it lowered their PTSD symptoms by playing Tetris. Try it out. Go find a free version. Don't do any in-app gaming purchases. Watch out your budget and go play some Tetris. If you're feeling stressed, see if it works. Right? Curate some positive social media feed. I've had to learn this for myself. I'll be vulnerable. I'll tell you myself. Right? Remember, I told you my coping skill is I'm just going to go numb out on watching. I'm stressed out, so I just want to distract myself from a hard, busy day. So where's my YouTube feed? And I have learned awareness first, but I can spend way too much time there, and it does me no good. There's no redeemable value in the things of the cat videos that I'm watching. So I've learned I have to curate a positive social media feed. So I go look for things. I'm going to watch podcasts from Tony Robbins or Jim Rohn or John Maxwell or Jordan Peterson or all of these thought leaders, so that YouTube thinks that's all I'm interested in. Because I told it that's what I prepped it, and now it just feeds me this stuff. So if I'm bored and I want to go numb out on a video, it's sending me positivity. Like, okay, I'm feeding my brain while I'm getting a distraction from whatever was stressing me. I had a hard interaction with one of my kids. I'm going to go to YouTube, but I've curated a good list. So it's not making it worse and stirring up negative emotions and anger and more anxiety because the world's ending. Because that's what, if you let it, your social media feeds will just create more anxiety and more anger, designed to do that because it gets reposted. Negativity gets reposted more often than positivity gets reposted. All right, take a screenshot of that one because we don't have time to go through it. But all of these are options for you to do in your coping, in your responses, right? Breathing, exercise, right? That was a short list. Here's a really long list. I love sharing the example right here in the middle, taking a bath. We went through when we were blending our families, my wife and I, we have 8 children together, right? There's a reason to have to learn how to cope. I've got 5, she has 3. Holy smokes, putting this family together. We took a class on how the heck to do it. And the counselor that was leading it, she said, my stress technique is taking a bath. And my husband knows it's been a tough day when I'm on my 3rd bath for the day. That's okay. Learn your coping skills. So pause the recording or take a picture of that and find one of those things and use it so that you can deal with the stress and the feelings that you're dealing with, right? It's the head, the heart, and the hands. This is a hands activity. You got to do these things. All right, let's go back to Chuck. Remember about Chuck and he had those goals. So I want to close the story on Chuck. So he gained some awareness of where his money leaks were coming from. It was the convenience stores. He was buying his energy drinks and snacks from the convenience store. But he had a vision of what he really wanted. That was for him, baby step 2, I want to get out of debt. But I like my drinks and my snacks because I'm busy and I'm traveling and I gotta eat. So his execution was, I'm going to buy the snacks and the energy drinks at the grocery store instead of the convenience store. It's not that I have to go cold turkey and not have it, but there's a good, there's a better, and there's a best. And so maybe it's better to buy them at the grocery store because I can buy a case of them for what it costs to buy 2 of them at the convenience store. So where I shop is important. And what was his outcome of doing that small thing? He found $500 back in his budget. That's a lot of energy drinks and snacks. But he was able to save that over 30 days. His coach, Heidi, this is a YouTube video. You can watch one of the shorts or one of the videos on our YouTube channel again. And she tells the story of Chuck, and he found $500 in his budget just for making that small change. So how much money do you have that you could take advantage of? How much time do you have if you just harness it and you put it to use? Okay, so again, hands time. We did the head, we did the heart. Now it's the hands. We got to do some homework over the next 30 days. I want you first to observe your behaviors this coming week to see if you are a stress spender, and that can be in time or in money. I want you to identify what you were feeling before you wasted that time or broke your budget, because without that awareness, you'll just keep repeating those patterns. A whole lesson I want to do is the 3 patterns. First is pattern recognition, pattern control, and then pattern creation. But if you don't know you're stuck in a pattern, you can't break it. You can't escape from prison if you don't know you're in one. So first, recognize your patterns. What were you feeling before you broke your budget on time or money? And then identify better alternatives for your current habits. Grocery stores versus convenience stores. Healthy social media versus just no redeemable value time wasters. What are the better alternatives? And here's the magic. The secret sauce. Set a goal. Remember that lack of tracking? I want you to set a goal and I want you to track your progress. Write it down, share it with an accountability partner, share it with your coach, share it with your spouse, put it on your mirror in the bathroom, and you see in the next 30 days, I want to save $500 like Chuck. I want to stop making money a weapon in my relationships. I want to learn more. I'm going to fix one of those lacks. I'm going to identify 3 things that I can do on that coping skills, and I'm going to put them in order so that I can escalate, right? Somewhere between water and morphine. Maybe I start with I'm going to go for a walk, I'm going to breathe. If that's not enough, I'm going to go for a walk. If that's not enough, I'm going to go for a run. If that's not enough, I'm going to call a friend. If that's not enough, and you just keep escalating until you soothe the pain that you're feeling. That's what's happening, is you're trying to soothe it. You're trying to heal the wound that you're feeling. And unfortunately, it turns into a money or a time waste. We're just trying to find happiness. And we jump to something that actually makes us not happy. Right? I'm hungry. So what do? I eat a bag of Cheetos. Well, that didn't help. Right? Empty calories, but I was hungry. Well, okay, I was feeling something and I turned to something that actually may not have been very healthy. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. I encourage you to re-listen to the recording. Think about it. Again, make it personal. Don't just make it an interesting discussion and hopefully it's not just informational, but it turns into application, because application over time will turn into transformation. That's what we want to be with Be Money Strong, is to help you to be money strong, but also to transform, to become something, to become that financial steward. At the very top of the chat, the comments, I posted some links in there so that you can subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. I'd love you to leave a review on our website. We love 5-star reviews. That helps other people know who we are and how we can help them as well. You can also share our website with friends, family, neighbors, coworkers, anybody that you hear that they're struggling with money. I would love to be able to serve and help them as well. If there's other things that I can do to be of service to you or anyone you know, please reach out and let me know, or reach out to your coach, and we would love to help you. The same link that you used to find tonight and enroll in tonight's session, you can click that again and enroll in next month's session. I would love to have you there in June, second Wednesday of every month, same time. And I look forward to seeing you again. Good luck this month. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your participation. It's an honor to be here and to associate with you. I hope this has been helpful and inspirational and motivational, but also action oriented. Put it to use, and let's celebrate some fun things next month. So thank you again. Have a great night. We'll see you in a month.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.